Hello and welcome to another video from 6maths.co.uk, where you can find so many free maths videos. This one's about direct and inverse proportion. So direct proportion just means, well, proportion just means one thing is linked to the other, but direct and inverse tells you how they're linked. Direct means when one thing gets bigger, the other one also gets bigger. It's like if people's feet get bigger, then their heights also tend to get bigger. Okay, and inverse proportion is like if you increase your distance from the center of the earth, the force of gravity on you decreases, so they're inversely proportional to each other. They're linked in an inverse way, the opposite way. Okay, so although I've drawn graphs of the situations, all these questions just relate to pure number work. So here's an example. You've got y directly proportional to x. So y is directly proportional to x means y equals a number times x. They're linked by a number. Okay, and you have to figure out that number, and they help you figure out that number like this. They tell you a pair of numbers. So they tell you when y equals 30, x equals 5. So when y equals 30, x equals 5. You know when they say when this number equals that, then therefore. You know, on a straight line, you can have lots of pairs of numbers. Imagine that's your x and that's your y. You could have one pair of number like this. So when y is this number, x equals this number. When y equals another number, x equals another number. That's what they mean by when this number, when y equals 30, then x equals 5, etc. So you have different pairs of numbers that work with your specific equation. So here's one pair of numbers. So when y is 30, you're told x is equals to 5. So replace the x with 5 as well. And rearranging, you can easily work out that k equals 6. So now you know k equals 6. Instead of y equals k times x, you write y equals 6 times x, or y equals 6x. Okay, and now you've got your formula. You can do what they're asking you to do here, which is find y when x equals 7. So when x equals 7, you've got y equals 6 times 7, which is 42. So y equals 42, and your first question is done. In fact, in real questions, they even break it up. They say, oh, get me the equation or the formula relating y to x. So that will be part A usually, and part B is work out one of the letters, either y or x, depending on what they tell you. For example, if they told you what y is, then you would work out x, but they told you what x is, so you ended up working out what y is. Anyway, so our second question is y is directly proportional to the cube of x. So instead of saying y is directly proportional to x cubed, they prefer to say the cube of x. Okay, so how does that translate into numbers? Y directly proportional to cube of x, or x cubed, is written like this: y equals k times x cubed. Instead of like last time y equals kx, is y equals kx cubed, because it's proportional to x cubed. And then they give you a pair of numbers like last time over there. They do it here as well. They say x equals 2 when y equals 16. So replace that x with a 2, replace that y with a 16, you get 16 equals k times 2 cubed. 2 cubed is 8, so 16 equals k times 8 means k must obviously be 2. So replace that k with a 2, and you've got your nice formula y equals 2x cubed, as it says over here. And as before, they want you to work out one of the letters when they tell you the other letter. So this time we're using y equals 54 and find out what x is. So y equals 54, so let's replace the y with a 54 in our formula and try to figure out what x is. So 54 equals 2 times x cubed. That's easily rearranged to figure out that x must be 8. X must be 3. Is that right? Yep, that's right. x must be 3, because 3 cubed is 27. 27 times 2 is 52. That's right. Anyway, now let's go to an inverse proportion question. So far we've done 2 directly proportional questions. Let's do the inverse example. M is inversely proportional to D. So how does that look? M inversely proportional to D looks like this. Instead of M equals K times D, it's M equals K divided by D. And why is it different like that? Well, remember we said when one thing gets bigger, the other one should get smaller if they're inversely proportionate to each other. So let's imagine D gets bigger, and K is a fixed number, don't forget. So as D gets bigger, the overall answer to this gets smaller. So, and M is the overall answer to this. M equals the answer to this. So as D gets bigger, M gets smaller. And if D gets smaller, say you divide by a really small number, when you divide by a really small number, the answer actually gets bigger. So when D gets smaller, M gets bigger. So that means they are inversely proportional to each other, which is exactly what we want. So that is the general form of something that is inversely proportional, whereas this is the general form of something that is proportional. But when we do the same sort of working out, they give you a pair of numbers, D equals 8 when M equals 3. So replace the D with an 8, replace the M with a 3, as you can see here, and that helps you easily figure out what K must be. Just move that divide by 8 to the other side, make it times by 8, so you've got 8 times 3, which is 24. So K is 24, so replace the K with 24, and you got your nice formula, M equals 24 divided by D. So, M equals 24 divided by D, and what do we need to do? We need to, so we want to work out what M is when D equals 4, so I want to know what that is when D equals 4, so replace the D with a 4, and we get M equals 24 divided by 4, which is 6. M is 6 when D is 4. That's pretty easy, and finally, F is inversely proportional to the square of E. Okay, it's just like saying F is inversely proportional to E squared. So how do you write that? Like this, F equals K divided by E squared. Not surprising, isn't it? So that's the general form, is K over the other letter, so it's K over E squared, because we're proportional to E squared in this case. And so, what are we saying? We've got this situation, and they're telling us when F equals 2, E equals 4, so replace F with 2, replace E with 4, you get 2 equals K over 4 squared, 4 squared is 16, rearranging, blah blah blah, you get K equals 32. Okay, let's not say blah blah blah, that's 16 on the bottom, so you take the divide by 16 to the other side, comes 16 times 2 equals K, so 16 times 2 is 32. So that's that. So now, since we know K is 32, we can say F equals 32 over E squared, and so that's written over here. And as usual, they want you to know, work out one of the letters when you know the other letter. So they want you to work out E when F equals 8. So F equals 8, replace F with an 8. So you got 8 equals 32 divided by E squared. A bit of rearranging gives you E must be 2. And that's the end of our little